What's happening, friends? Welcome to Podcast Unlocked, episode 427 for January 21st, 2020, coming up this week. I got to play 3 hours of Doom Eternal, and I'm here to gush about it. It's so good. Plus, some interesting staffing news at Ubisoft, which may or may not have implications for a certain someone's favorite franchise. Dying Light 2 is the latest game to succumb to the Delay-apalooza 2020. And let's see, all that and more coming up on Podcast Unlocked.
Podcast Unlocked.
What's happening, friends? Ryan McCaffrey back with you after being AFK last week. Happy to be back. Destin Legary.
Bam! Hey, everybody, let's get going. I moved the mic away so I wouldn't break your eardrums. Hopefully, did I break it, Borba?
Producer says no, we're good.
Welcome, everybody.
Brandon Tyrell, hello.
How do you follow that? Good morning, everyone.
That works. Just the scholarly, teacherly, good morning, Mr. Tyrell.
Bam. Yeah, there you go.
Miranda Sanchez.
Destin, I thought you said you were tired.
Got to bring the energy.
To bring the show.
It's all a show.
It's like all poor. It's like, oh, it's just like the stress and sleepiness, and then it's like, whoa, okay, I guess we're all awake now.
Yeah. On the
It's good, though.
outside, I'm an 11. On the inside, I'm a 4.
Drop the hammer. All right, so we'll get started here on the 427th edition of the show. I wonder how many of those we've each been here for. It's
I think we started around 200. It was like some insane number.
or this group.
You and I.
No, you guys were in for a long time. Because I listened to you guys
When
with
you took over-
Mitch.
It was around.
Yeah.
It
I
was
listened then.
57 or 58 was my first one.
Wow.
So I
So,
came
I'm
on
coming
a
up on-
few weeks after that.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe a year.
Excellent. Love
Wow.
I got a solid 30 under my belt.
it. This is our year.
yeah.
Xbox Series X year.
Don't
There's a lot
jinx
to
it.
be excited about. No, I'm confident.
Cool.
This is it. And one of the big games that is coming out this year, we'll talk about one that isn't, or at least not anytime soon, Doom Eternal. I wish one or more of you had gotten to come with me.
Yeah, that would have been great.
Give me a minute here. No, so there's a big preview. Tristan from our Australia team also got to go see it in Sydney. He actually did the preview while I was working on some other projects, but I got to play the first 3 hours of Doom Eternal.
It was probably really far away. That's why we couldn't go, right?
You know what?
lot of-
I'll accept this guilt trip. I'll accept this.
Boy, but we might need to fix the lighting. There's a lot of shade over here.
Exactly. But yeah, when you get the chance, Destin,
I
that
have
is
played it.
good.
I have played it.
Yeah, it is. I tell you, Doom 2016 was one of my favorite games that year. I personally would have scored it very differently than our particular reviewer did. That's how,
yes.
hey, different. It's how it goes sometimes. But Eternal, if you miss single-player first-person shooters, Doom is the game for you. It is. It does have a multiplayer mode, the battle mode thing, where it's 2v1, which seems interesting. But this is a just meaty single-player campaign. The 3 hours I played didn't even feel like I was really putting much of a dent in it. But if your average first-person shooter nowadays is, I don't know, a guy, just a regular guy, Doom Eternal is Tony Montana at the desk doing a mountain of cocaine and then picking up a large automatic weapon and going wild. That's, if I could sum up Doom Eternal in one GIF, it would probably be Tony Montana with a mountain of cocaine.
Scarface final scene. If
I hope it ends. I hope it ends a
If
little
you're a younger
differently than it
audience
did
member.
for Tony.
Also
Because
graphic violence.
he caught both barrels in the back. so-
True.
Yeah.
The Doomslayer seems like he's a little better equipped
Yeah,
to handle.
I would imagine.
Would even make a dent.
But man, it's really good. It takes, if you play Doom 2016, it just takes everything that game does and really kind of hones it in and levels it up. They've added more layers to the combat, so you can really kind of approach each area. Not differently, but sort of more intelligently, like trying to decide, okay, well, do I want to use my flame belch to try and get some armor off? Because if you use that, the enemies will start spewing armor. If you use, if you go in for the regular glory kill, you'll get health.
Right.
If you use the chainsaw, you'll just get an explosion of everything. But that game, better than I think any game I've played in a long time since Doom 2016, it just does the tug of war that it does with you is so good. Which 2016 did this too, but in Eternal, you're in the middle of just this frenzied firefight with like 20 demons all coming at you. And you're getting down to low ammo, and then you're like screens flashing red. You're down to like 20 health. But then if you just do enough damage on that imp, and then you get him glowing to come in for the glory kill, and then you just come in and do some unspeakably horrible thing to him, and then boom, you get a shot of health, and you're just suddenly back in the fight. So it's like it just takes you to the brink and then pulls you back, and it's satisfying every single time. I love this game, and it's now arguably with the delays, it's like the biggest game of the spring now.
Oh yeah,
it's highest profile.
Yeah.
It's this and one other game, Miranda. You know it.
Yeah,
Animal Crossing.
Same day.
Different show for that.
Yeah, it's like, okay, so I'm gonna load up Doom Eternal, then take Animal Crossing on my Switch to work, and then put it down and go home and go shoot some demons. It's going to be a great balance of cute and
it'll satisfy
violent.
both sides of your brain.
Absolutely.
Like,
I must
I can take this
both.
much cute, and then I need this much gore.
I really want to see the moment where they start bleeding into each other. You're like, Tom Nook.
Get a little villager going down to hell.
But they're Doom Eternal, they're doubling down. There's a lot more story in it this time, but it's still all optional story. I encountered a handful of cutscenes, but right in the corner, they're like, hey, just hold the button if you want to skip this, and just get right to shooting things. There are...
Remember when that wasn't a thing? Skipping
you
cutscenes? I'm glad designers have figured that out.
Yes.
Not in Doom, just generally.
Yeah. There are a lot of sort of diary journal things around that are obvious pickups, and you can look at them and read them right away, or you can just read them at the end. Maybe you get to the end of a mission and then you're like, okay, I'm going to read through all
Story
this stuff.
time.
So there's more there if you want it, but they fleshed out the Doom lore. It's just the monsters are so good. Like they have weak points now, which they didn't in 2016. So just trying to add another layer of strategy to it. So the arachnotrons, the little mini spiders, because there's the spider mastermind, but they have like a turret on top, which they just pelt you from long range. But if you target that and take that out, then they just get real mad, and all they can really do is rush at you for a close range attack. So you can kind of like. You can decide what you want to do. You could target that, and then it's like, okay, well, I'm not going to worry about him for a minute. I'm gonna worry about what's going on over here.
Right.
The Revenants, which are the sort of skeleton guys that fly around with the jetpacks and have
the flames. Yeah.
Yeah. So you can target. They're individually target those.
Oh, cool.
So you take those out, and then they can't fly around and come at you anymore. So it's stuff like that. And the other good one was the classic Kako demon, the big like pink purple floating giant mouth. One of the weapon attachments, what weapon mods, I think it's really for the shotgun, is a grenade launcher. And if you just, when it opens its mouth, you just pop the grenade launcher in, it staggers back, and then you have a chance to just go in and lay waste to it. So man, this game, like, we talked about how like last year was a good year for games, right? There were plenty of good games, but there were no like front runner,
just like the obvious
masterpiece level kind of like. Where 2018 we had Red Dead Redemption 2 and God of War, and just for me personally, there weren't a lot of like just games that just tickled my brain specifically last year. Doom Eternal is definitely one of those games that just speaks directly to me.
Yeah.
And I imagine it's gonna do the same for a lot of people.
Yeah, Doom Eternal is definitely going to be at the top of my list of stuff that I'm going to be playing in the upcoming months. Sorry, Miranda. I'm not into Animal
Sorry
Crossing.
to me. I mean, I'm gonna play it too.
Sorry, Animal Crossing fans. Not my kind of game.
It's okay.
Never
You don't
been
have to like Animal Crossing.
You don't have to
It works.
I love
apologize.
killing stuff. I'm just talking
that's
to our
fine.
viewers.
You can kill
You
stuff
can
in
love
Animal
both
Crossing, right? Right?
You can kill some weeds.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
You eat some fish.
So like that's coming
Not
this
really.
year, and then like I have a nice little gap before Final Fantasy VII, on the PlayStation hits, And then
Yeah,
later in the year, it's overcrowded, to be honest. But yeah, it's going to get a little crazy.
It's really
end of the
backloaded this year.
Yeah.
We don't know what's coming in the middle, really. We have some ideas, but
Well, we also don't know the entirety of what the fall looks like with Series X and PS5 launch.
What are the launch games?
Well, we already have Halo, and that's all I needed. So.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
that's going to be great.
We expect Forza Motorsport 8, but it's not announced yet. We talked about, I think right before the break, we talked about, or maybe it was the first show after, where I think we think there's going to be at least one more first party offering in that day one launch mix, and it's like, what's that going to be? So yeah, the fall is it's already getting crowded.
Yeah.
And it's only going to get more crowded as time goes on.
To bring it back in before I completely derail the conversation, Doom. That whole combat mechanic puzzle of, kill for ammo a certain way, kill for health a certain way, getting to play it twice. The first time you play it, you might not quite realize the mechanics if you're like just being thrown into it like I was at the event the first time I played it. But then you play it again and you're like, okay, I know this dance. I know what I'm supposed to do. Yep. And then you go in and you just wreck shop. Yeah. And it's a blast.
And it from playing the first 3 hours, it onboards you reasonably well.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not an easy game, don't get me wrong. And you can adjust the difficulty anytime you want. They were clear about that at the event. Like, hey, if you want to really dial it up to ultra violence, like go for it. But if you want to dial it back, feel free. I just started on Hurt Me Plenty, which is sort of the middle.
I love their difficulty
so
names.
good.
Well, and they've kept the original games too, which is nice.
To me, it marries my love of FPSs and fighting games. Sure, you can go into a fighting game, you can button mash, and maybe you'll win. But if you really want to dive in, you learn the mechanics, the combos.
Right, there's like an efficient way to play.
Yes.
And you don't have to, but if you do, you're going to be better off for it.
It's very cool that when you have games like this where the core gameplay loop is enter a room, kill everything, replenish, and go.
Yeah.
This one is there's a sort of a loop within a loop, right? So like the loop is fight, get low, replenish health, go on to the next guy. And I really appreciate that. I'm not that kind of player, so it forces me to like kind of get into. I'm the guy that like opens the door and I'm like, pew, okay, everybody come to me. And I stand in the back. I save all my health potions because you never know.
That's kiting, right?
Yeah,
like
it's
specifically it is designed to not be you can't really play it that way. Like you have to get in there.
Yeah, it's movement's so important.
So I learned that with 16, whereas like, okay, the door opens and you're like, and just run straight in and like bounce from guy to guy to guy to guy, or demon to demon to demon to demon.
Yeah.
They're demons, Brandon.
Yeah.
I'm not call him guy.
Not assuming demonic
Guy?
gender here.
It's the ultimate, Doom Eternal is I'm not trapped in here with you. You're trapped in here with me.
Rorschach quote the game. Yeah.
So it's gonna be that game. More March 20th
Soon.
coming up. So yeah, please check out our preview coverage. So we did a few things. There's the preview from Tristan. Please check that out on IGN or YouTube. You can read it on IGN or watch it on IGN, or of course watch on YouTube. Matt Purslow from our UK team also played it. We took the three-prong approach. All three major IGN outlets got to see it and play it. Matt cut together this really cool, I think it's 10 or so minutes of gameplay that he edited together that shows off the super shotgun, the rocket launcher, all kinds of stuff. And then I put up a little news story. I interviewed Hugo Martin, the creative director, about multiplayer specifically. So, we've got a bunch of coverage up for Doom. Would love for you to take a look at it because, man, that game looks and feels so good.
I can't wait.
All right, let's get to the news proper. So, Maxime Balland, if that's a name you're like, maybe I kind of recognize. He was the creative director on Rainbow Six Vegas, which was, of course, before Rainbow Six Siege's huge success. Vegas was the last time we had heard from Rainbow Six on the 360 generation, and Vegas was a real excellent series.
Yep.
It was real good, and then Max went on to work on. He headed up Splinter Cell Conviction and Blacklist.
I like Conviction a lot. I know most people didn't.
Well,
I think it was too linear. I don't
think saying people didn't like it is. It actually sold very well. It was received well. It was I think the purists were like, it's my least favorite Splinter Cell.
Yeah.
With no disrespect to Max,
Can you articulate why? Yeah.
Yeah, it's more action oriented. It brought the mark and
easy button
thing.
Yeah.
So you'd come into a room, tag a bunch of dudes, and then if you'd had enough stealth juice built up from right?
Gross.
From coming around, from snapping a bunch of necks, you'd build up the meter, and then you could come in, to a room with 4 guys, tag them all, and then hit the button and it'd do the slow-mo thing of just taking them all out.
Oh, like Red Dead Revolver bullet time kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where you slow down time, mark everybody, and just bang, 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 bang.
And
If Conviction was this for like the amount of things that you could do in a situation, Blacklist opened it up.
Blacklist,
Blacklist, the main problem was Ironside, I think, really. Like that was a really tough sell.
Again, for purists,
Yeah.
his absence was very much felt. But you're right, on the gameplay side, they did still have that kind of bullet timing mechanic.
Win button.
You could you could tweak it all. There was a
You can play on Perfectionist, and you can still mark, but you can't execute.
exactly, and you'd get rewarded for stealth, like specifically, so you could upgrade your gear just from doing stealth things. And Blacklist really pulled it back, kind of in the other direction. But so Max is an accomplished guy. He had left Ubisoft for Epic, so who knows if he was working on Fortnite or spinning up something else that hasn't or won't see the light of day.
What was that shooter that they did before they canceled it?
Well, they were remaking Unreal Tournament.
Yeah.
Oh, I know they did Unreal,
they
but
did
Epic
That
did
other
a
game?
shooter that they shut down.
Oh,
Or was it a-
Paragon.
Paragon,
For
yes.
PS4
Thank
and
you.
PC.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Paragon.
Yeah.
Like that was a MOBA.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
It was
Not a
great.
shooter.
That MOBA was really cool
People
too.
liked it. I never actually got around to playing it, but
I played it a few times, and I felt like there was a pretty steep learning curve, but it did a lot of really interesting things with like elevation and height and lines of sight and visibility. Not to mention the fact it was just friggin' gorgeous.
And then, of
Probably
course-
the
like the art
best looking MOBA I've ever seen.
And of course, they have their launcher in Fortnite. Fortnite's
Yeah.
their biggest property. Borderlands 3 launched on the Epic Store. So
So-
that's what they've been up to.
Max has left Epic and returned to Ubisoft, where he will serve on the editorial board, which is interesting. I should give credit. This was first reported by Video Games Chronicle, so a tip of the hat goes to them on this.
You want to fill people in on what the editorial board is and how that's sort of evolving? Because there was a press release about it over the weekend.
Yeah, so that's kind of the interesting bit here, because you see this as again, speaking to my fellow Splinter Cell fans, you see this and go, well, wait, Max is back. And 2 or 3 years ago, Clint Hawking, who was the creative director on Splinter Cell Chaos Theory, the greatest Splinter Cell of them all.
He also did Infinite, didn't he? BioShock Infinite?
Clint
I wanna say?
Hawking, I don't believe so.
Didn't he do a BioShock? He's done a lot of really interesting
But
things.
he's it's Chaos Theory, and he left. He was at Valve for a while, and he didn't put out anything that we like that clearly had his name on it. Like, I don't know if he worked on Dota or if he worked on
Probably
Artifact.
not.
Or,
There's also not a whole
Probably
lot
not
coming out
different,
of Valve
yeah.
these days. So
well,
and
they have
that's
stuff
true.
in the works. It's just
Yeah.
been a quiet.
I think
but
Artifact.
Half-Life Alex, Left 4 Dead 3. Just kidding.
Oh,
no Left 4 Dead.
don't, dude,
knows?
don't. What are you doing?
There was a leak, and that's not.
It just
true.
blew over.
Yeah,
Come on.
I know. Yeah.
Destin's kicking the tumbleweed back into the road.
Seriously. Hey, did you guys drop this?
The reason I was sort of like, well, I meant to set you up for it, but the whole editorial board thing at Ubisoft is really interesting to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Right.
mean, the thing is, there may be other publishers that work this way. Maybe not necessarily the exact same way, but Ubisoft is kind of the more, I guess, transparent about it in that they effectively have a team of creators that, to the best of my understanding, gives feedback on games in progress, which it stems the range, I'm sure, from everything from accessibility to just design feedback to, usability feedback, all that stuff.
Yeah.
To, I think they also like greenlight games. I don't know if they actually are the ones that will cancel projects or not. They might be. I don't know for sure. But so Max is coming back to be on that editorial board. So it is not to the best of my knowledge, it's not a development role. Like Ubisoft has a lot of projects. Not, you got to remember there's mobile projects, there's, various
And they have a lot of
PC-only
teams,
projects.
too.
Yeah, they're a big global company. So I don't think Max will be doing day-to-day development work, but he'll be on this board. So it effectively means that if a new Splinter Cell did finally come around, Max probably isn't going to be working on it, but if somebody makes him a good pitch, he's going to probably be more likely to cast his vote in favor of proceeding with that and giving feedback on that project along the way. So I don't think this directly, because I got so many tweets. I love everybody for sending me those. We're like, this is it. It's finally happening. Like, well, not from this specifically, but there is now a very pro Splinter Cell voice in a position of significance back at Ubisoft. So that's good to see. And I think I'd start to say, Clint Hocking, he had returned to Ubisoft after Valve. And
I was just looking up what he's been working on. I think he's on Legion right now.
I think, I believe that's correct.
What's Legion?
Watch Dogs.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Watch Dogs 3. Yeah, another one that got delayed, so you're not thinking about it.
Yeah.
That was supposed to be out, early, around this time of the year, first quarter. But
it just makes me think of it's like, the grandma game.
Yeah.
Yes,
right.
Ellen.
Pretty much Ellen.
Yeah, I don't know why I thought he did Infinite, but Clint Hawkins got his name on a long list of really
He's
great
a
games.
very talented guy, so that's my new dream is for Clint Hawking to head up a new Splinter Cell and then for Max to, give a little notes along the way from the editorial board. But so that's kind of the good news and bad news is that Max has returned, the head of Conviction and Blacklist, but he probably won't be developing a new Splinter Cell himself. Hey, games get delayed all the time.
I've heard
Apparently,
that
happens
this past week or so. It's especially a big deal.
Yeah.
We need some cool catchy buzzword for it. This period of the year where everything gets delayed.
Delay-apalooza.
Delay-mageddon.
Delay-mageddon is good. Delay-gate.
I got nothing.
That's the classic go-to.
Yeah,
Put
that's not
gate on
bad.
anything.
Well, that's kind of
But also implies that there's a problem.
That's true.
It's true.
That's true. And there's really not. Games are hard. We only have that sliver of an understanding of it as games media professionals who talk to developers and cover this stuff. We don't even know what it's truly like on the inside trying to get this stuff done.
Contrary to some of our family members think, we do not make games.
Or play them all day.
Correct.
But yeah.
Remember when we used to play video games?
Brandon, what is the latest game to hit the Delay-mageddon?
We'll workshop it.
Yeah,
you guys need some more.
The layest game is, unfortunately, Dying Light 2. That game has been pushed out. It was scheduled for
spring
2020.
There was no specific date on it. But just spring.
It was just a release window. But from their official announcement, we were initially aiming for a spring 2020 release for Dying Light 2, but unfortunately, we need more development time to fulfill our vision. Understandable. We will have more details to share in the coming months, and we will get back to you as soon as we have more information.
Summer is barren. Please release more things in the summer.
I mean, it is every year, right? And I mean,
until E3,
right?
Yeah. Then we get a little bit more fleshed out.
It feels like every year or every other year, there's a really big, high-profile release in June. We've seen
sometimes or just before it.
We've seen The Last of Us in June. We've seen Batman: Arkham Knight in June. We've saw No Man's Sky in June.
Oh, right.
There've been, but you're right though. July is always just a wasteland.
Then sometimes we get something at the end or midway through August.
Control this past year was an end of August big release. That's our game of the year for 2019.
They probably steer clear of E3 and Gamescom, announcement things where people are getting during the hype cycle. That's my only guess as to why people wouldn't release during those months.
Yeah, July.
E3 is July, right? This year?
June. It's always June.
Late June this year?
Early June.
Mid-June.
Mid again.
Second week.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know then. Maybe they're just maybe a bunch of stuff could come out in July that was announced at E3.
You're right. It does take, anytime a game is released, there's a excitement, I don't know, a tangible excitement that you can cash in, right? It's like, hey, there's nothing going on. This game is dropping. People who want a new video game are like, oh, I'm definitely going to play that.
Yeah.
I mean, games have turned themselves into series and franchises based off an August release window, right? Because there's just historically there hasn't been much in August. That's totally different now. But Borderlands, I believe, released in August, and
3 was September.
Borderlands 1.
1? Okay, yeah, I don't remember. I will trust you on that one.
There's a lot of games I could see. This is a perfect summer game. Why didn't you have this out earlier at the beginning of summer? There's just something to it that it feels like they're missing. I'm pretty sure there's some sort of fiscal reason as to why they don't want to launch in this certain period, but it makes me, it's just the time to catch up on old games that you missed or something. And that's always fine. But I think I'm just still bitter about Cyberpunk. Really, what it comes down to is like, I think there's just such a great time to release at the end of spring, and then you have that entire summer just to get time with those games.
Yeah.
And we never see, or I guess never, but hardly ever see big things come out at the end of June or like throughout July. And then like August is Gamescom, sure. But I mean, you know, like
we get stuff in August sometimes. Yeah.
We'll get stuff in August. Like July, I feel like is like usually the most dead.
Yeah, which is why like programs like Summer of Arcade were so awesome.
Yeah.
Because you have 60 days where like there are not a ton of releases.
It's like highlight the smaller games that are coming out then, which is what I like to do, is trying to find those that are coming out.
I'd like to point out that we have been beating the bring back Summer of Arcade drum the entire generation, which is now almost over. I'm going to keep beating that drum for Series X.
It's over.
I say, Phil Spencer, there is still time.
Summer has set.
Come on. Summer 2021, Series X, let's go.
I feel like there's like a fun way to do that with Game Pass too, as far as like either special achievements or some sort of like program to be like, hey, look at these awesome games that are coming out on Games Pass and you already subscribed to it. So all you have to do is download them and like join the celebration of playing these different games that we want to highlight and focus on.
Excellent point.
The great thing about Summer of Arcade was it wasn't Xbox Live Arcade had a lot of great games, had a lot of okay games too. Summer of Arcade was like a unification of the platform developing these sort of digital games, but also the Xbox marketing team getting really behind it and pushing these games into the spotlight where they didn't have to really compete with anything. So one game per week for 4 weeks was crazy.
I remember in the 360 days, I would talk to developers, indie game developers, from some of Arcade games. I would talk to them in the springtime, like early in the year, springtime. And we would have conversations about, like, they would say, oh yeah, when are you looking at trying to get the game out? And I would hear time and again, like, yeah, we're talking to Microsoft, we're in consideration for Summer of Arcade. And
it was something to like
coveted slot.
Yeah.
And justifiably so, because you'd get extra attention on there, and you were both overtly and kind of covertly. It was this unspoken mark of quality, right? If it was a Summer of Arcade release, it was going to be good. So,
I mean, think of the games that came out of that program.
It's a heck of a list.
Oh yeah,
we should go over it on one of these shows.
Yeah, I don't have it all on top of my head, but like I believe Castle Crashers was there.
Oh yeah.
Braid,
Limbo. I mean,
I think maybe Dust and Elysian Tale was on there, which was a gorgeous.
Correct.
It was sort of like a side-scrolling Ori, like aesthetically. Deadlight, which was a gorgeous zombie game platformer.
Really enjoyed that one.
Some real bangers.
State of Decay.
State of Decay.
Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely. God, that game
towards the end of the Summer of Arcade line there.
Yeah.
Yeah, anyway, it'll be interesting to see when Dying Light 2 does slot back in and find a more concrete release date. But again, it's fine. Like we still, the point I wanted to end on with this is, okay, you might be bummed, like, oh yeah, I was really looking forward to Dying Light 2. Well, let's let them make it better. And in the meantime, this is just the spring, which is, again, when Dying Light 2 was supposed to come out. You've got Ori and the Will of the Wisps in March. You've got Doom Eternal in March. You've got Resident Evil 3 in April. You've got Hunt Showdown on Xbox coming out of Game Preview with some new content into like final
the 1.0
release.
Is dropping,
in February. And then, okay, these aren't Xbox games, but still big releases if you're playing on PC and or PlayStation. You've got Half-Life Alyx in March. You've got The Last of Us 2 in May. You've got Final Fantasy VII Remake in April. So it's a real busy spring. There's a lot of incredible games, or at least incredible on paper, games to be excited about.
Yeah.
So fear not is the moral of the story.
Well, here's the thing: is we live in a time now where the industry is, I don't want to use the word healthier, but more robust than it's ever been. So, like you were saying, there's not a whole lot to do in June and July. If you're not, working in the industry, it's a very busy time. But if you're playing video games, here's the thing. There are more games that come out every year that we can possibly play. Mm-hmm. So I wonder if like a Summer of Arcade thing, which really, a program that really took advantage of that lull in the middle of the year, if that's even viable anymore, because with Xbox Game Pass, you have every game on Xbox Game Pass that you haven't played yet that you've wanted to try. Like those are at your fingertips.
Right.
You've got games from 2018, from 2017 that you haven't played yet.
There's still that choice process though, right?
Yeah.
Like, there's so much there. It's like, how do I find something that I want to play? And if they can showcase something that's new newer that's maybe flying under everyone's radar, and that's just like a great time for it.
There needs to be a tool, and I'm sure there is. I'm sure it's out there.
Maybe we could have our own little celebration. Who knows?
People will let us know, but
Summer of IGN.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
Kind of like an IGN first style, highlighting one thing
know.
every week. Anyway,
Yeah, Miranda.
I want there to be a tool where you press a button and it scrubs everything on Xbox Game Pass and says, today you're going to play this.
It's like a dice roll and just
Yeah,
here's
pretty much.
the thing.
Netflix, there was a website that did the same thing for Netflix. Like, don't know what to watch? Press the randomize button. And then you filter out, like, I'm really feeling comedy today, maybe horror as well, and only movies that are 2 years or younger, you know?
I like that. I could even see, I think Steam might do this. Miranda, maybe correct me if I'm wrong, of it kind of gets to know based on your purchase history and your browsing history and like tries to algorithmically curate things it thinks you'll like.
It has things based on tags.
Yes.
So it'll like pull those based on like a lot of different kinds of tags.
I actually really like it. It's pretty accurate, too. Like, every time I open Steam, they're like, you're going to love these fantasy RPGs. And I'm like, yeah, I probably will. You're right.
When I have time to play them.
Exactly.
Maybe
Unfortunately, each
someday.
one takes 100 hours, but, you know.
The hard part.
Yeah.
What's 100 hours? Was it like it's like 2 days?
Is that how time works?
That's how time works.
You don't have to do anything else. It's fine. Just play games.
I know.
No, the responsibilities. All right, let's move on to the loot box, and then we've got a trivia question because we got to get that going. Because
We're all zero, right?
I know nobody got the first week, and then I wasn't here last week. So let's start with the loot box.
Oh,
Evan,
did you not watch last week? We all got it right.
oh yeah,
Yeah, all
Okay.
of us.
Well, good to know.
All four.
Evan asks, this is a good one. This is a fun discussion topic. What dormant Xbox IP would you like to see rebooted for next gen? Not remade, rebooted. So Evan himself says, I'd love to see Perfect Dark come back.
Great
I think
suggestion.
Splinter Cell has left a big hole in the stealth genre, and that there's lots of room for an Xbox Game Studios developer to make something unique with both stealth and action gameplay in a futuristic setting.
Imagine Perfect Dark, but with a heroine that's closer to Scarlet Witch. Or not Scarlet Witch, darn it, Black Widow. Black Widow in the Marvel Avengers series. Yeah. Sorry, I mixed up.
She's the most powerful character in the MCU,
well,
apparently.
she's great, but she's like magical, right? Like Black Widow is more practical,
guns.
real. I'll say
she's like
realistic in quotes.
She's a spy.
Yeah.
Assassin,
And
I guess.
Perfect Dark, it's like a futuristic version of that character, basically. And I agree with him. That would be a great franchise to do. Yeah. My answer, though,
Yes.
I think there is definitely something interesting within the Rise Some of Rome series, and I hope they don't abandon that IP. It was a great launch title. It looked gorgeous. Gameplay-wise, it was too repetitive. Like, that's largely what they ran into problem.
Great story, though.
Yeah.
Marius was a wonderful main character.
Yeah. And so that's my more modern answer. And the remake that I'll say, after seeing Microsoft Flight Simulator, I would love to see what they could do with Crimson Skies. Oh, no. Sorry, Ryan.
You're taking two over here,
well,
Ryan.
No, sorry.
No,
well,
it's fine.
elaborate.
No, yeah.
I feel bad. I should have shut up.
How dare you?
I didn't think anybody would say that.
Fine.
Yeah.
No, I'll pick another one.
All
Go
right.
ahead. It's fine.
Well, no, I just think with the new technology that they could do a lot with something like Crimson Skies, and yeah, there was just so much cool stuff that they did back in the day with that franchise, and I would love to see what they do with a modern take on it.
I mean, that game might have been 2003.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say 2003, and it had some. That was back when nobody that outside of Rockstar could do anything remotely resembling what Grand Theft Auto did. It was just the gap was. I mean, I would argue the gap is still pretty significant, but there are good open world games now. Back then, Rockstar were really the only ones doing it. But Crimson Skies, High Road to Revenge, there were parts you could get out of the plane in certain sections, and there were cool like ground-based elements to it. Mm-hmm. It was also a super pretty game.
Yeah.
The controls were really fun. They were kind of, I would say, they weren't simulation-like, but maybe not totally arcade either. Kind of a little bit of a
mix.
A little bit of a mix.
You could fly, but it took skill to master.
That's the important part of dogfighting games, right? Yeah. Which is, I think Star Fox on the 64 was the last time I really enjoyed a dogfighting game, but that was super arcadey. Crimson Skies really, really like made it easy to get into and pilot. If you played the campaign, you were ready for multiplayer kind of thing. But dogfighting really needs a high skill ceiling. Otherwise, what's the point, right? It's just whoever sees whoever gets behind the other person wins. So I really appreciate the series, and I think there's a ton of room to move that series into next gen, right?
Yeah, for sure. Well, we'll go down the table. I will piggyback off of what you said by going with another former FASA studio IP. Here we go. Ready? Shadowrun as a first-person RPG done by Obsidian. The perfect people to do it.
I like it.
Everything that could be cool.
Because if you remember, if you're an old enough Xbox gamer, you remember that the Shadowrun game that came out in 2007, it was, ironically, it probably ended up being ahead of its time. It was there was no single player campaign. It was just a team-based multiplayer shooter where you had different abilities and powers and things from the Shadowrun world. And it played really well. It kind of got a stink on it right away because back then it was unspeakable to not have a single player campaign. And I've
how dare they?
The head of that studio and the head of that project, Mitch Gittleman, came in here and did Unfiltered. Must have been a couple of years ago now, and we talked a lot about that. I would really encourage you to go check out that interview because he kind of laments how that all turned out, and he really speaks candidly about that. And even back then, everybody said, "Well, we want our first-person RPG Shadowrun because it's not a first-person shooter." Because Shadowrun was this pen and paper RPG, and now it's a Microsoft-owned IP. They've still been sitting on it. They've licensed it out to the studio Harebrained Schemes that Mitch actually works at. And they've made a couple of good Shadowrun games, but as far as like a big budget, $50-80 million game, you've got Obsidian is the perfect talent to just take that and run wild. And, it would effectively be a new IP because nobody's done a big budget first person Shadowrun RPG like that. So Microsoft's already got all the pieces in place. So that's my answer. I would love to see that.
Yeah, and with this Godfall game that's coming out recently, you kind of get an idea of how that could work.
Right. Yeah. So, was that PS5?
I'm on board, Ryan.
Excellent. Thank you.
And
Brandon Tyrell?
If not Obsidian, then throw it over to InXile and have them do a isometric version. I think I played an isometric Shadowrun. My memory is super fuzzy from that time period, but was it on Super Nintendo?
That's correct.
Okay.
You are correct, my friend. Yeah. Good memory.
Yeah. No. You know what? I'm going to actually back Cleanup if you want to go, because I know what you're going to say.
Anytime we talk about old IPs, I'm just like, hello, can I tell you about Fusion Frenzy?
Final Fantasy? What?
Yeah. So Fusion Frenzy, one of the reasons I bring this up constantly is because it's not a big RPG. It's not a shooter. It's not
it's a party game.
Adventure game. It's a party game. And we don't have good party games on Xbox that are from Xbox. Like, give me a good thing that I can chill down with my friends who don't really care about games or who are like have a hard time with them. Like Fusion Frenzy is a perfect thing for that. Like not even, I kid you not, one of my childhood friends messaged me like last week. She's like, oh, I booted up my Xbox for the first time in years and look what was on it. And she like pulled up Fusion Frenzy and was playing it. And like that just warms my heart to see something like that happen because it's like a game that connects with people because you have like these great memories and it's like a very varied kind of mini game system too. So I would love to see them redo that. Fusion Frenzy 2 was so it would be really cool to see them like give that a second take and like make that a thing that they want to keep pushing forward. I think whenever you look at games now, like there's a lot of really big hitters that we look forward to, and they're kind of within a similar genre of games that we always see. Like we got our shooters again, we got our adventure games, we've got our big RPGs, but let's like expand a little bit more and see what else they can do and where else they can play with that can draw in different kinds of people to play games.
Love it.
Nice.
Bring it on. Well, Mr. Cleanup, what do you got?
I'm so unprepared. I just don't even. I don't know. I don't know what to say. Number one, Fable.
Yeah. I'm glad you said that.
I know we're all sitting here like knowing it's probably in the works. Nothing has been officially announced. Just like there's no Batman game coming officially, you know?
True.
So Fable, I would love to see that rebooted on the next gen. If that happens, that would be great. I don't.
If only there was a second team being spun up at Playground.
Yeah, I would.
What could possibly be coming
I would
out
super
of
love that.
A very talented British team to carry on the British charm
Yes.
that Fable was.
I mean,
known
you know,
for.
the spirit of Lionhead, right?
If only they had like an open world engine that did weather really well, that could really bring the world of Albion to life.
No, surely not. Surely not. Dude, I didn't even think about that.
They've been building it for years.
If you don't
The engine,
remember
that is.
Fable or anything, and I jumped off the series around Fable 3 because I didn't like the industrial sort of age that they went into.
Yeah, everybody was, even Peter Molyneux, again, not to plug Unfiltered again, but he lamented that he said they went too far forward in the timeline.
Yeah.
They should not have gone up that far.
The fairy tale aesthetic of that game is what sold it for me. And I've said this probably 2 or 3 episodes in total. I don't remember when they were, a long time ago. But go back and watch the announcement trailer for Fable, and it's you know, like those sports trailers where like it's crazy good music and there's just dudes with like doing big hits and hitting home runs and you like want to run through a brick wall, like that trailer for me. Like
what a baseball game that is. Wow,
that Fable trailer is like that for me, but for like feel good, like fairy tale vibes, you know, like it's sweeping camera angles and music.
And
it's like the land of Albion.
And they did play with seasons a bit.
They did,
in the first 2 Fables as well. So which adds to that cool charm and atmosphere that you're talking about.
Yeah, dude, go back and watch that trailer and then picture the my mind is blanking on the developer right now.
Lionhead?
No, Playground, right?
Playground now,
Yeah, picture their weather system.
Yes.
As you're running over the dunes and you see just a rain cloud off in the distance.
Yes.
Open world Fable.
What a dream.
Please. In addition to that, Alan Wake. Like, I would love to see that rebooted for.
But it has to be Remedy though. That has to be written by Sam Lake. Like there's no, I can't sign off on them handing the keys to that to anyone else.
Okay.
It's just so distinctly Remedy and Sam.
But I would love to see an evolutionary jump in that gameplay style, because it's a horror game, but it wasn't really a horror game.
Yeah.
You could take it in either direction. You could take it more control route where it's very aesthetic themed, or you could take it the PT route where it's terrifying and your flashlight is your only friend, you know? So like you could do a lot with that series, and I think it would be awesome. Mech Assault. Sorry, I know.
Look at you, just going down the roster.
I loved Mech Assault.
I know, Evan. I'm like, but I'm taking your question and just
run with it.
defaming it.
Yeah.
It's all good. Show the love.
Mech Assault. I know a new Mech Warrior just
It was very recent.
just came out.
Mm-hmm.
But
It looked great.
yeah, it
Reviewed
did.
well on IGN. I think we gave it an 8.
But Mech Assault was that perfect blend of like futuristic robots fight, but also online community, multiplayer, accessible. You didn't need to know how to drive a big rig to play that game.
Controlled really well. And
Yeah.
had the campaign was excellent as well as
absolutely.
It was one of the early hits on Xbox Live.
Yep. And
but the campaign was really good.
It and Crimson Skies were really kind of the first 2 games that I felt were like, oh, this is what online console multiplayer is. You know, it's the first time I really felt that way. And lastly, a little personal gem for me. It's not an Xbox IP, but it really did just come to Xbox.
Okay.
You're not going to guess it.
I was gonna say Sudeki.
No.
To troll you.
No. No. Monday Night Combat. From Uber Entertainment, which is now no longer Uber Entertainment. They're Star Theory Games, and they're making Kerbal Space Program 2.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that. I did not connect those dots.
Yeah, so Uber Entertainment made Monday Night Combat, which is a third-person, I think it was like 5v5 or 6v6 class-based. Think Team Fortress 2, but set in a futuristic game show. It was super irreverent.
I remember people playing that so much in high school.
It was 360, right?
It was 360, yeah. And then they came out with Super Monday Night Combat, which was for PC. I never really messed with that too much. You know, and then they went off and started making different kinds of games, which is great. But God, dude, Monday Night Combat was so good. It was that easy pick up and play, has a lot more depth than you think. And it's just like constant matches where you play and get better and you build up a group of friends. And then, you know, a lot of games followed that sort of model, which was the easy to pick up arcade, online only competitive games like Project Gotham City Imposters was another one like that.
Oh boy, yeah, that was an interesting one. That was Monolith did that.
Yeah, it did. Now WE owns it.
Excellent responses all around, and great question from Evan there. If you have a loot box question, something fun you want to post to the panel, send it in unlocked@ign.com, which is also the email address that you use to send us trivia questions, as we got to get people on the board with the Trivia Challenge 2020 here. Robert from Leighton Buzzard, England, writes in with this one. Which of the following, this is, I admit, like, I don't expect anyone to know this. I sure didn't. So take a shot. Which of the following achievements did not end in a 5 or a 0? So this, this is one of those that'll either fix your gamer score, which is what it did for Robert. He wrote in, he had this fixed it for him, so he got back to that 0
Even
or 5
number, or whole number.
Yeah, or it will frustrate you because it will screw up your achievement number.
Yeah.
So was it the buy the ticket, take the ride from Civilization? That's the name of the achievement. Play it again, Vince, from Catherine. All roads traveled from Life is Strange 2, or Como te llama from Shadow of the Tomb Raider.
That translates to "Where are you?" Right? Como te llama?
I don't recall
What's your
my
name?
Spanish well
Pardon?
enough.
What's your name?
What's your name?
What's your name? Oh, my Spanish is very bad.
So again, I admit I had no idea here. I'm gonna go Miranda's way first.
Well, everyone.
Do you know?
No.
Oh, no.
I don't know any of these. Or I don't know what these would be in numbers. I never know the achievement numbers. Like that's
Yeah, it's
so
tough. This
hard.
Robert's putting your feet to the fire on this one.
I'm going to go with A, buy the ticket, take the ride from
All right.
Civilization.
Destin?
Yeah, I was leaning towards that one, or Play It Again, Vince, from Catherine. I actually haven't played Civ, and I haven't played Life is Strange, so I'm at a pretty big disadvantage. Yeah.
What do you?
I'll go with B.
B. All right. Brandon Tyrell.
I can't in good conscience.
Do you know?
Yeah.
You do?
Yeah, the answers were accidentally on the sheet.
Before I printed it off, they were on there.
You cheated, so you know.
Oh,
you
saw?
didn't
No,
cheat.
well,
Ryan made a mistake.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I didn't see it before.
I'm owning it. I'm saying
That's good.
I
You're
can't.
very,
I can't participate this week because I did see the run of show and the answers were on there. So
Very noble of
I
you.
appreciate that.
I'm abstaining. Destin.
Wow.
Bam.
Non-cheater. I take it back.
So you know what? If it comes down to a tie at the end of the year,
I just win
you just win.
because
You were
you get
good.
ability
guy
points.
points.
Yeah.
It's karma coming back around.
Sportsmanship.
Well, thankfully, one of you is correct.
It's Miranda.
And it's not Destin at all.
Yeah.
It's Miranda.
Yeah.
Well done.
Thank you. Thank you.
So like
Applause from
the
producer
off-hand
John
clap.
Borba.
I knew it
whole-
wasn't going to be C or D.
Yeah, the
They
whole
released too many places.
the whole reason I thought it might be that one is because like buying a ticket, I can imagine that being like one gamer score.
Yeah, it'd be something
So-
really simple,
Yeah.
easy to get.
Yeah.
Well, Robert,
Yay,
you
thank
really made him hurt on that one. That was good. I'm glad we did that. Good stuff. Again, please send your Xbox trivia questions in to the unlocked@ign.com email address. Need your question, 4 multiple choice answers, and then please note the correct one in your email, and there'll be a trophy for one of you at the end of this year. Maybe there'll also be a Series X for you. I don't know.
What?
Wait,
No.
sorry.
You'll
I'd
have,
like to change my answer.
no, there won't. You're not getting one of those. Not from this anyway.
Wait, I am definitely getting one.
You're
of
getting
those.
one of those.
We'll
but
have one. Probably not from this show.
Probably not from this show. All right. With that, it's time to wrap it up. This has been the 427th edition
Nice.
of Podcast Unlocked. Yeah, we're just getting started. There's plenty of year to go. Again, please take a look at that Doom Eternal preview coverage. If you would be so kind as to help us click on all of our stuff so we can keep doing podcasts. That's really what it boils down to. Otherwise, I don't think I have anything else to promote. Just the Doom bits. Destin?
Yeah, you do. You unboxed a zombie shark.
Oh, yeah. If you like
yeah.
Zombie Sharks, Zombie Army 4.
Who doesn't like?
Sort of like
this?
Me.
Sniper Elite, but with zombies,
kidding.
right?
It's a spin-off of Sniper Elite. Yes.
It looks cool.
I was actually very pleasantly surprised because we get a lot of collector's editions in here, not to sound like, I don't know, spoiled by them.
Whoa.
But like I took the thing out on the camera. I was like, wow, it's like so crazy hyper detailed. You
Yeah.
can see little
It's
individual
big.
like guts, and it's a good size. Comes in a nice stand. So check out that unboxing if you like Zombie Sharks. Destin?
Zombie shark.
Yeah, I mean, you can still check
Oh,
me
no.
out at twitch.tv and mixer.com/Destin. I've been streaming there pretty regularly. I'm playing through Final Fantasy 11.
Oh.
The MMO?
The MMO. It's still online. It's on PC. It's $30
You
for
can't play through it. It's an MMO.
No, you can. So they have all these new systems that allow you to play through it at a very expedient pace. So I'm like, this is the best time ever to like experience this story.
Yeah.
And this Final Fantasy is probably the most difficult. Well, you could argue 1 or 2 were pretty rough, or especially 2 because it was only released in Japan. Well, no, never mind. There's a whole bunch of stuff with Final Fantasy.
You can play it on your cell phone right now.
You can play it on your cell phone, but the systems were rough. But anyway, so Final Fantasy 11, I'm playing through it. It's a really good time to do it. There's this new trust system. There's a huge XP gains. They get you through the campaign pretty quick, and I'm having a blast playing that.
To get you to the end to do the raid content?
I don't care about that. I just want to experience the story of Final Fantasy 11.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and there's a great community too. Sign into the Asura server. It's the Reddit server. There's this huge Final Fantasy 11 community that I've discovered. They've been very welcoming, and it's been a lot of fun.
I spent some time with the beta on that back when it came to 360.
2002?
It was a big deal
Oh my God.
when it came to... No, it was 360.
Okay.
Not 02.
Okay.
So it would have been...
The game was released in 02, I believe. So
for
maybe
PS,
04.
For PS2 and PC.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it did came to the 360.
Yeah.
Must have been like 06.
Okay.
Something like that.
First console MMORPG. Well, no, okay. You could argue Phantasy Star Online.
Crossplay on that, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Phantasy Star Online was the first one.
That was Dreamcast, wasn't it?
Was Dreamcast, yeah. And then I think
original
it was
Xbox.
Yeah, and then it was
which is where I played it.
Oh, okay.
So good.
Final Fantasy 11, and it did have crossplay all that time ago.
Fun fact: when I worked at Official Xbox Magazine, we had the Final Fantasy 11 beta.
Yeah.
On our game disc. Thank you.
Yes.
On our demo disc that came with every copy of the magazine, you couldn't. But the way that Square had built their software, that built the beta, you needed the disc to uninstall the beta.
Oh.
So we would get emails from time to time, people that had thrown away their, the magazine and the disc, and they're like, I need to get this because it took up a lot of space.
Yeah.
Remember, 20 gigabyte hard drive
Yeah.
back then, and this is an MMO. So we would get emails like, can I get another disc because I need to get this Final Fantasy thing off the. And so yeah, thankfully we had a customer service department that would keep an archive of those things.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, that was a fun little footnote in Xbox history.
Talk about oversight.
Yeah, just this fascinating game that I'm playing in my own time, and you can join me if you'd like.
Nice.
Where can I join you?
Twitch.tv and Mixer.com/Destin and YouTube.com/The Destin Channel. Whatever platform you want, I don't care.
Love it.
Just hang out.
And you just rebranded, so it's important to.
Yep.
Like that logo.
Oh man, I love that logo. Thank you.
Very cool. Did
Yeah.
you make that?
No, I had a team make it. The team over at Get Wrecked Labs. They did really great work.
Excellent.
Hey, I'm still plugging through some IGN First content. All month long, we are covering Disintegration, new sci-fi shooter strategy game, hybrid, unique, cool little thing from V1 Interactive. V1 Interactive being the Seattle-based studio headed up by Marcus Lido, who you might know as the man who created Master Chief.
Yeah, the former art director on the Halo series and then project lead on Halo Reach.
That's right. Good for you.
Nice.
So his team is making Disintegration. It's very cool. I've been slowly churning out content, couple pieces a week over the last couple of weeks. Today, this very day, we put up the first full match of multiplayer. It is I think I used the word tactically chaotic or strategically chaotic, because when you watch it, there's a lot going on, but there's a method to the madness is the phrase that I'm looking for. So yeah, go check that out. And if you like it, maybe check out the other content as well. And we're going to be doing a lot more content leading up to the beta, which comes out later this month, including maybe an in-depth profile of all the different multiplayer crews that you can play and what they do and how they act and all that stuff. So very cool. If you want to play the beta later this month, check out our article on IGN. It has a link where you can go sign up. So
sounds good. Miranda.
Nice. I don't have a whole lot right now. Just use IGN guides. That's about it.
That works.
Please use our guides. Thank you.
All right. Well, for Miranda, Brandon, and Destin, I'm Ryan. This was Unlocked 427. We will see you all next week.